Hi Cancer, it's Jess and I'm here with your timeless monthly reading, and I know that is some confusing verbiage, and what I mean by that is this reading is intended to last for the span of a month, but it is meant to resonate with you whenever you find this reading, whenever you are drawn to this reading. My plan for this is to start including these on my Patreon, so slowly I will have a body of work over time that you can scroll through and choose from, or if you prefer, you can follow along with me monthly and use it kind of however you want to use it. So that being said, let's get into your reading. Cancer, a lot of major arcana energy coming through for you this month. So a lot of inner work, a lot of soul level work. We'll break that down as I start to piece this kind of together. But also a lot of feeling stuck, a lot of stagnant energy. But the good news is that used correctly, this is going to help propel you forward in the highest scenario. So let me tell you what I mean. The overall energy for this month is the Hangman. This is major arcana. This is the energy of Neptune, the energy of Pisces. And this man here, it represents a spiritual initiate who has hung himself on this tree upside down in order to get a different perspective of the world. The world is upside down for him in some scenario. And so your world could have flipped upside down for you this month, or will flip upside down for you this month, Cancer, in some way or another. And it's in a way where you feel a little trapped, a little stuck. You're not necessarily sure how to move forward. I feel like you feel a little bit like you can see a train coming, that's about to hit you. But it's this very moment, that moment that I described, that's kind of encapsulated in this bubble of the awareness of knowing that the train is kind of headed towards you, the choice to hang yourself on the tree to get a different perspective of the situation, that is propelling your inner work this month, Cancer. That's propelling your inner growth process. And while there might be things that need your attention on the physical level and in the 3D world this month, these external happenings are there in order to help drive you inward, and you can make a lot of progress with your spiritual development this month, Cancer. I feel like you are right at the verge of some kind of new breakthrough, some kind of new perspective on the world that is really going to serve you in the future. This is no small undertaking. You are about to level up, but we level up from the inside out, and so I feel like this is so beautiful. It's like a breath, right? Your external circumstances have kind of compressed and propelled you inward so that you can expand back out into the world again. In the past, I see that things were pretty comfortable. I feel like you felt like you were getting in what you were putting out, basically. I'm kind of getting this existential sense from this reading this month, but you could have also, this could be your home situation, this could be a partnership, this could be a relationship in the past that was really good, that you felt your feelings were reciprocated and this person really showed up for you. It doesn't have to be on such an acute level though. I'm really getting like an overall sense of life, like you and life were really getting along. You felt very comfortable, you were making a lot of strides. I love the symbolism of this eagle lion thing kind of happening up here. This is your masculine and your feminine sides being very intertwined so that you have dominion over the heavens and the earth. So you really were in a place of power before, and it's not that you're not in that place anymore. It's just that you're starting to feel a little pressure, where in the past it's like you didn't really feel much in that way of pressure. There could have been someone else around you that you felt like you could lean on or something in the past. Just a lot of really good energy. And honestly, that's really not going away forever. You are definitely at a crossroads, Cancer. I definitely see that, because in the future you do have judgment. Now, honestly, plainly speaking, this this can read as like some kind of shakeup in a relationship, you know, where you were in a really good relationship before. You're currently unsure, you're seeing something differently than you had before, you're getting a new perspective on this relationship somehow, Cancer, and as you move forward, something's going to kind of break down, because the Judgment card, this is another major arcana card, so you already have two major arcana cards that we've talked about here, and this is the energy of Pluto. This is all about death, rebirth, and transformation. Pluto is the coldest little planet, so I feel like it's going to be getting warmed up for you towards the end of this month, Cancer, where something is kind of coming to light. There's a lot of imagery here of uniting the heavens and the earth. So you could be getting some news, and this process feels very divinely orchestrated. This is, like I said, this has the feeling with it of a major soul lesson in your life. Life to me is a major soul lesson, so I'm not really sure what I mean when I say that. I'm just seeing a ton of massive major arcana energy coming through in this reading. I just feel like you're leveling up. You're leveling up in a big way. I feel like you were living life on one level, because although this is one of the happiest cards in the deck, the Two of Cups, it's still not major arcana, and you are graduating up into a major arcana sort of a position here with this relationship, with this situation within your internal self. But I feel like you're going to realize that something is no longer working for you the way that it was, and things can't, no matter how much you try, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Do you know what I'm saying? So the major obstacle is another major arcana card, the Chariot. This is your card, Cancer. This is the Cancer card. This is the young king on the move, all about uniting two opposing forces. So it's like you do want to unite with this person, but you have been made aware of something, and you're seeing something that you didn't quite see before in this situation within yourself, within this relationship, within this connection that you didn't see before. And it's kind of like mixing oil and water right now. You just kind of can't seem to do it. You can't really seem to move forward, not quite yet, even though that's on your mind. You're unsure of how to do that and protect yourself at the same time here with the Chariot card. And you do have, it's like, you have like the inkling that something is not right, and it's just preventing you from moving forward, basically. The tools at your disposal and what's weighing on your subconscious mind, spoiler alert, both major arcana energies. You have a lot of moon energy coming through this month, Cancer, because your obstacle is your card, the High Priestess, up here in your subconscious mind. This is the moon card in my mind, and this is also, the moon is your ruling planet. So you have a lot of things in your subconscious mind, a lot of fears kind of coming to the surface, things that you weren't aware of, secrets. There's some kind of secret that's coming alive here with the Judgment card. And you could have a Pluto moon kind of a connection with someone where you just feel incredibly drawn to this person on an emotional level at first, to where it's almost obsessive. And you might not have even noticed it at first because you guys just clicked together so easily. And maybe you weren't even considering or faced with the prospect of having this person fall out of your life. But it's definitely the energy of Moon Pluto, which is just digging deep in that moon kind of an area. But Pluto is a malefic planet, and the moon can be as well. But the moon is our most tender space, and it is the most important planet in synastry. So if this is a relationship and this isn't going on inside of you, because it could be happening on a couple different levels here, and honestly, it's probably for a lot of you happening on all of these levels at once, right? I always love to bring this back to Hermetics: as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. And so this external relationship is triggering this internal process of your own feminine and masculine, right? And that's kind of what's happening here. Is there a threat to your inner feminine from your inner masculine, or from this external situation, right? Are you calling upon your divine masculine energy to come to the aid of this divine feminine energy within you? Because I feel like you are aware that you're vulnerable in some way, or that there is some kind of, I'm so sorry if you can hear that. Hold on one moment, Cancer. Let me just pause you and shut the door. Sorry about that, Cancer. I keep my meditation music on to kind of help keep me in a certain space, and I didn't realize it was so loud. Okay, so yeah, I just feel like your soft inner self, and your intuition is coming up and kind of telling you to be a little guarded, because she's guarding the gate to her emotions here. And there's just something that you are starting to become aware of about the situation, or whether it's internal or external via a connection, that you want to really be protective of. You know, I want to read somebody their rights. Do you know what I mean? So there's not a lot of forward movement. All of your energy is kind of being focused, whether this is a relationship or whether this is you and some kind of inner process. You are being directed inwards this month, Cancer. Notice how, again, there's this heavy imagery of uniting the divine feminine, the divine masculine within, because the cross is a symbol of that. It's the union of the divine feminine, that horizontal plane, and the divine masculine meeting together at this central point. That is the imagery behind the cross, and it's right over her heart here. So you're being called to balance. You're investigating the situation, your overall life, your inner state, to see if you are in a state of balance, and to see if you're safe enough to really open up and to really trust someone or a situation with your own tender side. But there is a shakeup coming towards the end of the month, and I don't say that to scare you. I just feel like it's you receive some kind of news. Towards the end of the month. Now, the tools at your disposal, and this is beautiful, is the Star card. This is the card of hope, the card of healing, the card of your long-term goals, the card of fertility, the card of vulnerability. So in a way, it's like your vulnerability is at the forefront of your mind. It's something that is a Cancer can use vulnerability in a way that a lot of other people can't, to where it's such a strength. Moon ruled people or moon dominant people, they bring out a protective side of other people with their vulnerability. And that's kind of, I feel like, where you're at, where you're like, is this situation safe for me to lead with my vulnerability? Because when you do that, Cancer, it is very transformative for the people around you. And you know that, and that's why you're protective of yourself, basically. So yeah, this is you just really taking stock of a situation to see what somebody's hidden motives are, with the energy of Pluto coming through as well, to see what's really motivating them, to see if they're just going to leave, to see if they're in it for the long haul, to see what it is that they're wanting, to see what happens when you give somebody a little bit of power over you. You're just really pulling back and watching this month, Cancer. And that is definitely advised. And then to do your own inner work, where you are in you're in observing mode, so that you can move forward with your best foot here. The tools at your disposal, again, it's the Star. This is the Aquarius card, and I can't help but note that this is a heavy energy permeating this year, and that you're really comfortable here. There's also the imagery of nighttime and having that star shining through at night. So it's like, you know when to let yourself shine. You have that moment of divine timing. Also, you're good on your own. There's something about you that is really good, and you know that you are nourishing, and that you have control over this process. You know how to use this as a tool for the highest good of all, basically. You know when you can be vulnerable, and when it is nourishing, and when not to be. You're being very strategic about that. That's something that you very much know how to do. Yeah, you're being very careful about where you're putting your energy, your creativity, and your emotions. And you're really clear within your own self, Cancer. That's what I'm getting with the whole, like, the naked imagery and the vulnerability, is that you are able to be very open and clear with yourself. And that is something that lets on in your mind, where you know that, but are you going to let this person in? Are you going to let this situation in? That kind of a thing. So what is your perspective on this situation? this month. The Devil, another major arcana card. Saturn energy coming through. So you're definitely feeling weighed down. I'm seeing that. You're feeling shackled to the situation. There's something that you really want to sort out. You guys, if you want to go to YouTube, type in the search bar, Jewel, Truth and Aspect Astrology. And if you look up Moon, Pluto, Synastry, that might really help you to understand what's going on, if this is some kind of a connection, just to see if that resonates with you, because you're feeling a very strong pull to someone on an emotional level. Like it's very attractive to you, or you are very attractive to them on an emotional level. And you might feel that this other person wants to control you emotionally or something like that. It's definitely a watery connection going on, with the Hangman being Pisces and Neptune, and the High Priestess and the Chariot card coming out here. Because this kind of a connection is very, very potent, and you're feeling that. It's potent and it's scary. And if you have two high vibrational people, they can use that energy for inner transformation, but you have to get clear about your boundaries, which is something that you're thinking about. You're thinking about your boundaries here. You're thinking about your protection, your self-sovereignty, your self-preservation. This feels like a very psychic connection to you, and Moon Pluto can be a very psychic connection. You could have 12th house synastry with someone. You feel like someone has this deep access to you. You feel this strong pull to them emotionally. But it's something you just don't know that you can trust or not. And so it's something that you feel shackled. And there's a lot of sexual attraction here as well. This the upside down pentagram talks about incredible sexual attraction, because the pentagram right side up represents the proper state of a human being, where the head rules over the groin, where this is like the groin ruling over the head. But it's something that you're aware of. Oh my gosh, look, the groin is over the head. So yeah, there's a lot of sexual attraction here, but you're trying to understand it. You're trying to understand its place in like the soul connection in your overall spiritual journey. And you want to know if this is leading you towards deeper into isolation. I feel like you're isolating this month in some sense. Like you might have I feel like you have pulled back from this connection, this relationship, this situation, in order to take stock of things. And you're doing your best like to protect yourself, but it's like the pull is so strong that you're not sure, like without realization, you're like, I don't know if I can keep this up forever, kind of a thing. And that's what's scaring you. And I feel like you're pulling on your spirituality, your religious texts, to try to understand this soul connection. And honestly, the tools at your disposal, this being the star card, and I did just give you like a video that you can look up that has to do with astrology. Understanding your synastry, if you have access to this person's chart, if this is another person or your own chart, that's going to help lead you to some kind of a better understanding about this. Because sometimes, I'm really funny about labels, right? Everything's just a tool. It can help with proper use and it can hinder with improper use. So sometimes whenever, it's just like an illness, like when you find, like you have all these symptoms and then a doctor says, oh, it's this, and like we know what this is, and like here's what we do in order to help it, that can really help free things up. And I feel like if you understand the synastry behind it, or if you can understand a certain placement in your chart, that you might be able, this is really going to help with your overall healing process and with your overall understanding. But yeah, I just feel like you feel a slave to this in some way. Like a lot of obsessive thinking. You're definitely spending a lot of time thinking. It's just you want to spend high quality time thinking this month, and not even thinking, maybe even trying to step back, meditating and journaling. The outside influences, the Ace of Pentacles. So maybe this is a start of a new relationship. This is an actual offer, because aces are new beginnings, and the Ace of Pentacles is a new beginning in the physical material world. For some of you, a relationship is getting broken up because somebody is moving away. You know, either you get a job offer and you have to move away, this other person does, there's some kind of opportunity elsewhere. to start a life, to build a life. But you feel like you have been very harmonious in the past. You might have a relationship that you don't want to leave, have a community that you don't want to leave. This doesn't have to be romantic either. You just feel stuck, you feel chained. Yeah, this is just a new start. Maybe this is a move, and you have to figure out what it is that you're going to do. And I can see that changes are coming with the Judgment card, right? Things aren't going to be the same. And that's what I mean with this feeling of being on the train, where it's like you can see it coming. You know that your life isn't going to be the same, but you just don't know how that is. For some of you, maybe your parents are getting a divorce, if that applies, you know, if you're really young. And or like something's breaking up. And that was really harmonious and worked in the past, you know? And so right now you've been given this moment to breathe and to kind of take stock of things, and you don't want to waste it. But the thing is, you don't want to be ruled by impulse. You're trying to be ruled by insight, by spiritual insight, spiritual guidance. You're trying to look at this from a higher perspective. So your greatest hope and fear is the Page of Swords, and pages are children and messengers. So for some of you, and it's also like the start of a new journey as well. Pages and aces have a very similar energy, but pages, it's like they're further along in the journey, like they're starting to take those first steps, like in my view. So you're scared of getting some kind of crude information, right, with the Page of Swords, and I can see that also coming through with the Judgment card. You're afraid that, you know, it's just going to come in suddenly and unpolished. But that's also something that you want. You want to get a message. You know, even if it hurts you in some cases, you really want to get a message. You know, if this is a relationship and you're seeing something that you're not quite sure of, you're like, oh, do I really want to know about it? But like, actually, you do want to know about it, you know? Because there's a lot of gossip, there's a lot of thoughts in your head, and you know that that's the first step towards healing, is just to get this piece of information, because you can spend all the time that you want internally sorting yourself out on the inside, but eventually something has to change in the situation in order to move forward. And that's what this month is all about. It's about you getting yourself right so that when this piece of information comes in, whether this is about a relationship, whether this is about a new opportunity, whether this is about a move, whether this is about some kind of change in your circumstances and your state here, whether this is information about a divorce. Maybe for some of you, it's like being served papers. You're afraid of that because you're afraid that it's going to add to your confusion. You're afraid that you're going to get more information. You're afraid that it's not going to be very kind, or that it's not going to be enough, that it's just going to open up more questions. But it's like, you know that you need more information than where you're at. Because you also don't want to be stuck in this space of just speculating and swamped with your emotions all the time. You want something real, you know? You want like the real information, because that's what you need, honestly, to unlock yourself. So the highest outcome in this situation is another major arcana card, the Strength card, the Leo card, right? After Cancer comes Leo. And with the 8 up here and with this infinity symbol, definitely some kind of transformation, right? There's a lot of stagnant energy here that you are absolutely making the most of this month, Cancer. In the highest vibration, you are making the most of this. You're getting yourself right. Because you know this change is coming. You see it coming. And you can't quite move forward yet without this piece of information, without that missing puzzle piece. And so the highest vibration that this situation can take on is the Strength card. And this is all about, this is the first human in the major arcana. And she's holding back this primal nature with the touch of her hands, with just very simple, elegant, graceful energy. So it is, you know, it's holding your tongue for the right moment, waiting for the right moment in order to build your inner strength, right? It's considering these fears. It's considering what it is that you want with all this yellow solar plexus energy in the background. And it's handling yourself outwardly with a sense of grace, because that's going to set you up to make the next best possible move. Taming those fires, taming the primal desires, not lashing out, not acting impulsively, but demonstrating this inner strength that you're cultivating this month and that you were tapping into. in order to kind of, I'm almost seeing like this pressure cooker of all this energy that wants to erupt, because when the time is right, you can do that with the Knight of Swords here. This is your advice card to help you get to the highest possible outcome. And again, with the Knight of Swords, this is like, seek out information, you know? That's kind of how I'm seeing this, is go move towards the information. And I think you'll know when the time is right, because there's a ton of energy here that says like when the time is right. And I think that's going to be different for all of you. And don't be afraid to cut out what needs to be cut out. And don't be afraid to move towards your future impulsively. And with, you know, when the time is right, don't be afraid to move forward with the Knight of Swords here and say what you need to say. And to have it be authentic. Because the Knight of Swords is less polished than the Queen of Swords or the King of Swords that have diplomatic and social mission on the mind. He's less refined, where he's impulsive and he wants to conquer it, and it comes from a really good place, you know? And this energy isn't always bad. Most people read this as bad, you know, a lot of the time, and a lot of time it is. It requires this sort of strength and this temperance energy that you have going on here. But I feel like this is about funneling that energy out in the right way and using your words strategically. You don't have to use many of them, but proper placement, letting them flow from you impulsively. I almost feel like that moment is going to happen where it's impulsive, you know, and you've been holding back and you've been doing your work and you know that you're in your highest vibes and something just needs to kind of come out, or you're going to go seek this information out. Basically, don't ostrich. Like if this is a relationship and you feel like someone's cheating on you, if this is a marriage and you feel like it's time to break this marriage up in some respect, you know, if you feel like you're being cheated on, because that's certainly a scenario that could be playing out here. If you feel that that's what's going on, don't ostrich. That's not what the Strength card is about. Holding back your feelings, holding back your anger and your primal urge here, your lowest possible self. This is also like, don't be getting sexually involved with someone that you feel could be hurting you in this way. Be prepared to cut it out. Be prepared to meet this sexual fiery energy that maybe you feel towards this person. Be prepared to act impulsively and cut that person out, or be a little more cold than you would be, for your own best interest. If you have to up and run out of a room, up and run out of a room. You know? This is interesting because I'm almost getting this energy of like having the wisdom of a child, where it's like you have the wisdom of a sage most of the month, where you are looking inward, you're taking stock of yourself, you're rising up into your powerful energy, you're tapping into these primordial energies with the High Priestess here, especially. And you're doing a lot of soul searching in order to get yourself right. You want to consider the strongest, like how you become stronger, how you can use this to transform yourself spiritually and then carry that out into the world. But it's almost like when it comes to interacting with this person or like starting to move out in the world, you're moving out with the energy of a child with the Page of Swords and then the Knight of Swords. Like the Page is a child, the Knight is an adolescence, where it's like, this might be new territory for you. You might not always feel comfortable standing up for yourself or using strong language and moving forward where you need to and protecting yourself. But the situation just might call for that. And that that could be what this next step is about for you, is realizing what you deserve, realizing what exactly is going on, having the courage to face whatever is actually going on for you this month, Cancer. So that is what I have for you. This is a very, very intense energy. There's a lot going on inwardly, if not outwardly. And yeah, I think the cards are really just saying to make the most of your inner self this month, Cancer. So all the best to you, loves. Bye.